So Donald Trump is using coronavirus to push a very nationalist agenda and to fire up the most rabid ultra nationalists in his base. The latest example we already talked about at the top of the show, which is Donald Trump announcing on Twitter that all immigration to the United States is suspended. Trump tweeted last night, again, just a quick reminder, quote, in light of the attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the great need to protect the jobs of our great American citizens, I will be signing an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States. We don't know what temporary means. We don't know the legal basis. We don't even know if this is legal. But what we've known for a long time is that Donald Trump would be as ultra-nationalist a president as he could get away with, not necessarily because these are the policies that he believes in or that he actually thinks are the best policies for the country. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, doesn't really matter. But because from the start of his campaign, Donald Trump has positioned himself as the nationalist candidate, and it has worked to bamboozle voters into supporting him. If you go back to the campaign in 2015 and into 2016, it was China's killing us. I know about how to stop us from getting screwed on trade deals, even though he didn't, but it was very, very effective. We don't win anymore. No more Mexican rapists are going to be coming here. We're suspending Muslim immigration to the United States. It's all nationalist language. And from day one at his inauguration, that language of America first, referencing an ugly nationalist slogan from the mid 20th century. There have been endless examples during the presidency, but today I want to focus in on what's been done during coronavirus to push the nationalist rhetoric. And before I do that, just remember, hyper-nationalism, ultra-nationalism, this is a common element, for lack of a better term, of fascism. And as we followed throughout the Trump presidency, we have a number of different elements of fascism that are noticeable. Trump is not a dictator. Fascism is a form of far-right, authoritarian ultranationalism, often headed up by a dictator. It often includes police states and lots of things that we don't have in American society right now. But that hyper-nationalism is part of it, and Donald Trump is very much excelling there. So let's look at our list. Under the guise of coronavirus, we've seen the entire premise of the response from Trump be focused around China is bad and we are good. So we had early on Trump first saying China's got this under control. Once it became clear that they didn't have it under control, Trump very much reversed and was calling it the Wuhan virus. He was calling it the Chinese virus and the rest of it. You all know about it. This was setting up the early stages of a nationalistic response to coronavirus. Then, of course, there's always some truth to these things. The virus did originate in China. Then it's we're closing borders, we're shutting down, we are isolating. Now, that was the right move. Every country mostly did it. But what we're talking about is the building rhetoric of ultranationalism during the coronavirus response. Then Trump started with, we've got to start producing everything domestically. We can't rely on China for masks. We can't rely on Italy for ventilators or whatever the case was that each product was coming from. We've got to bring all our production domestically. And of course, that's partially true now, which is that if we produced all of this stuff all along, we'd probably have somewhat of an easier time getting more of these items right now. But it's distracting from the real failure, because the real failure is not we should have gotten this stuff from American companies instead of foreign companies all along. You can debate that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. The real failure was disbanding the pandemic response team, not strategically increasing stockpiles of these elements, not distributing these earlier rather than playing catch up in late March. That was the real mistake, and it would have avoided the panic. So sure, you can get them all along from the United States or from other countries. The issue is not so much where these items are produced. It's that we weren't stockpiling them and we were unprepared and late in distributing them. Then it became, we must open the country for liberty and freedom. It's a constitutional issue. This is America. We're meant to be open, blah, 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 blah. Fomenting the mass gatherings to protest governors putting in place public health guidelines, insisting that these crowds are behaving appropriately. Of course, the crowds made up almost exclusively of Trumpists, don't tread on me, Tea Party types, Alex Jones style conspiracy theorists, all very nationalist groups, Trump very much instigating and firing them up. And then now we get to stop all immigration. There's this phrase, never let a good crisis go to waste. The phrase has been attributed to Winston Churchill, I believe falsely. I don't think it's a Churchill phrase. I've seen it attributed to Saul Alinsky. I'm not actually sure where it originated, but it very much applies here. It's not been put in place more acutely than during the Trump administration and specifically during the coronavirus fiasco. And it may actually propel Trump to re-election if we're not careful. The nationalist rhetoric, which very often confused people in the sense that they believed Trump was good on trade when Trump didn't really know anything about trade, but it got people to say, this is the guy that will bring America back, so to speak. It worked during his campaign. And we have to understand that it may well work for Donald Trump's own re-election. Ultra-nationalism under the guise of coronavirus, laughable at its face. Things are going so well that we should reopen, but at the same time, things are going so poorly, we need to take the unprecedented step of suspending all immigration to the United States. Completely incoherent. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. We have a just packed program for you today. Really glad you're with us. Have you ever wanted to learn to play the guitar, but you've had trouble committing to the time and money required to actually take lessons? I have the perfect solution for you. It's called Fender Play. It's an app developed by the iconic guitar company Fender. It lets you learn to play your favorite songs in minutes on your schedule with interactive video lessons that are very easy to follow. You can use it for guitar, bass, or ukulele. I've been using Fender Play to learn the ukulele. I've gotten a lot better than I thought I would in a couple of months. I had tried teaching myself using some YouTube videos, didn't really get anywhere. Night and day difference since I've started using Fender Play, and they have personalized learning paths that will cater to your musical tastes. You can use it on your phone, tablet, or computer, and you learn at your own pace, which is just awesome. 1 year of membership gives you access to thousands of lessons for less than the cost of one traditional in-person lesson. And when you go to fender.com/Pakman, you'll get to try it totally free for 2 whole weeks, free 2-week trial. Don't lose out on that without any commitment. That's FENDER.com/Pakman, Pakman, fender.com/Pakman.